A newlywed couple unexpectedly becomes responsible for a paralyzed child, questioning their readiness for such a significant challenge. During a peaceful afternoon, their 5-month-old baby is sleeping, and their puppy, Buddy, performs an act so touching it brings them to tears, and they deem it miraculous. Amidst this quiet moment, the doorbell rings repeatedly, disrupting the calm. Edward, engrossed in his programming work, initially ignores the sound. His wife, Evelyn, who has just finished a shift as a dedicated nurse, is unaware of the disturbance as she looks forward to relaxing in their cozy home on Maple Street. After several insistent rings, Edward reluctantly leaves his desk. Opening the door, he is confronted with a shocking sight. A young woman in distress stands at their doorstep, clutching a swaddled baby tightly. Her unkempt appearance and the desperate look in her eyes clearly indicate that their well-organized lives are about to be upended. Edward is taken aback. He doesn't recognize the woman or understand her sudden appearance. She looks exhausted, as though she has been deprived of sleep and food for days. Edward's heart goes out to her, yet he is primarily curious about her reasons for coming to them. He suspects she might need food, something within his power to provide. But her next words leave him speechless. "Please," she implores, tears cascading down her face. "I can no longer care for him. He's yours now." Edward was rooted to the spot, overwhelmed by the woman's abrupt departure and her desperate plea. The baby, swathed in a threadbare blue blanket, murmured quietly, a stark contrast to the chaos of the moment. As the woman pushed the infant into Edward's arms and pressed a wrinkled letter into his hand, she vanished almost as quickly as she had appeared. Edward was left in shock, his mind struggling to comprehend the sudden turn of events. He found himself gazing at the infant with a mix of astonishment and confusion before reality snapped him back. "Wait!" he shouted, but it was too late. The woman was already disappearing into the distance. Edward contemplated chasing after her, but realized the futility of pursuing a stranger through the streets while cradling a newborn. His heart pounded with a cocktail of perplexity and apprehension as he looked down at the dozing baby. Evelyn approached just then, her expression one of utter bewilderment upon seeing her husband with a baby in his arms. "Edward! What's happening?" Her thoughts initially raced to the worst scenarios, including the fear of infidelity. However, these suspicions quickly dissipated. She trusted Edward implicitly and knew there must be some logical explanation. Wordlessly, Edward passed the crumpled letter to her. They read it together, their faces growing increasingly grave with each sentence. The letter revealed that the woman, overwhelmed and unable to continue caring for her child, believed the baby would be safe with the Millers. She had learned of Evelyn's profession as a nurse and felt that no one could provide better care for her son. Born just 3 months prior, the woman had no family support and was abandoned by the baby's father when he learned of the child's paralysis. Isolated and condemned by those around her for the condition of her baby, she felt unjustly vilified. At her breaking point, she confessed through her tears in the letter that she needed time to heal and recuperate. Though the woman's decision brought with it a profound sense of responsibility, her heartfelt apology and belief in Edward and Evelyn's ability to provide the necessary care and love for her child were clear in her letter. She recalled Evelyn's kindness during her own delivery at the hospital and felt compelled to entrust her child to someone she had seen as compassionate and capable. The letter was accompanied by a legal document granting Edward and Evelyn temporary custody of the baby. Despite the lack of a birth certificate and any concrete details about the woman's identity, the couple reread the letter, slowly processing the gravity of what had just unfolded. The reality of their unexpected situation began to sink in, and as they exchanged a look of mutual resolve, Evelyn's instincts as a caregiver took over. She gently carried the baby inside, soothing him with tender murmurs and ensuring his comfort. Edward and Evelyn felt a profound commitment to this sudden, unexpected charge. Recognizing the baby's acute need for stability and affection, they committed wholeheartedly to their new roles. They named the infant Henry, and with each passing day, their affection for him deepened. Adjusting to parenthood came with its challenges, particularly given Henry's medical needs. They promptly arranged for medical evaluations to understand the extent of his paralysis and to ensure his overall health was monitored. Evelyn arranged to take leave from her nursing duties, utilizing her vacation time and the hospital's supportive policies on maternity leave. As they learned more about Henry's condition, their initial fears about his limitations transformed into a determination to support his potential for independence. While Henry's paralysis meant he would experience life differently, his parents were dedicated to helping him achieve a full and rewarding life. The sleepless nights and constant caregiving soon became their new, cherished routine as they embraced the joys and trials of parenting their unexpected blessing, Henry. After a few days of adjusting to their new roles as Henry's guardians, Evelyn and Edward contacted their lawyer to seek legal advice regarding their situation. They needed to understand the best way forward with the sudden responsibility they had assumed. After some investigation, their attorney informed them that since efforts to locate Henry's birth mother were unsuccessful, they were in a clear position to formally adopt him. The signed agreement from the birth mother further simplified the process, as it meant there would likely be no legal challenges to the adoption. Evelyn, ever compassionate and understanding of the birth mother's plight, agreed to proceed with the adoption. Though part of her hoped the mother might one day return, she was prepared to provide Henry with a stable and loving home. As they settled into their new life, an unexpected addition appeared, a scruffy puppy found shivering in their backyard on a chilly morning. Evelyn immediately brought the frightened animal inside, despite Edward's initial reservations about taking on yet another responsibility so soon. They took the puppy, who they named Buddy, to the vet and discovered he was a stray in relatively good health, aside from a minor illness. Buddy was standoffish and seemed particularly cautious around Edward, though he bonded quickly with Evelyn. His behavior became a concern when he appeared restless and somewhat disruptive around Henry. Edward, worried about the safety and well-being of their son, considered finding another home for Buddy. However, after spending more time together, Buddy began to trust Edward, which alleviated some of their concerns. Life with Henry and Buddy became a balancing act. Evelyn managed her demanding job and the needs of a newborn, while Edward rearranged his work commitments to support his family more actively. The addition of Buddy, who required a lot of attention due to his past neglect, only added to the complexity of their daily routine. Henry, too, needed special attention, particularly exercises for his lower limbs to ensure his development and health. Their families offered support when they could, but frequent visits were difficult due to their busy schedules. During these visits, Buddy's protective nature came to the forefront. He would bark aggressively, signaling his role as guardian of his newfound home. Despite the challenges, the couple embraced their roles, and their home grew into a hub of love and activity, where each member, no matter how small, was cherished and protected. Amidst the turmoil, a palpable sense of happiness persisted. Henry's delightful giggles and Buddy's spirited tricks injected light into their daily lives. Their house was a haven of affection, even during the most chaotic times. Yet the hurdles they faced were not diminishing. One night, after a particularly taxing day, Evelyn noticed Henry was running a fever. Concern grew when the fever didn't decrease after several hours, and in a state of alarm, they hurried him to the hospital. Amid this crisis, a glimmer of hope shone through. Following various tests, the medical staff approached them in the waiting area with surprising news. Excuse the interruption. Before we proceed with our tale, I'd appreciate it if you could like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support is crucial to us. Thank you so much. They revealed that Henry was diagnosed with a rare disorder that temporarily paralyzed his legs, offering a possibility that he might walk again. The news filled the couple with immense joy. What a miraculous turn! Regrettably, the doctors couldn't specify when the recovery would occur, but encouraged them to maintain a positive outlook. They also guided them on how to meticulously care for Henry to prevent infections. Evelyn shared their caregiving approach so far, earning the doctor's commendation. He scheduled a follow-up in 2 months, hopeful for positive developments. The seriousness of Henry's condition required relentless attention and dedicated care. Evelyn and Edward took turns staying home to tend to him, their hearts heavy with sorrow as they observed their son's ordeal. Clinging to the prospect of a medical breakthrough, they remained hopeful. Sensing the family's distress, Buddy was ever present by Henry's side, his loyal company a source of solace. One evening, with Evelyn out on errands and Edward worn out, he dozed off on the sofa. The baby monitor nearby hummed quietly, vigilantly overseeing Henry's crib. Buddy rested at Edward's feet, his ears alert to any changes. Although initially aloof, Buddy had grown to adore Henry, forming an inseparable bond and taking on the role of his guardian angel. A sudden noise startled Buddy from his slumber. He darted to Henry's room, propelled by instinct. The baby had inadvertently slipped between the crib's vertical bars during sleep and was now precariously dangling off the bed's edge, his head pressing against the floor and struggling to support his body. This position was critically dangerous, especially since Henry's paralysis prevented him from adjusting himself back onto the mattress. The stress on his head and neck was increasing by the second, threatening a potentially deadly fall. In a display of incredible intuition, Buddy approached and gently nudged Henry towards safety with his nose, trying to lift him with his body. Alerted by Buddy's distressed whines, Edward awoke and rushed to the nursery. He arrived just in time to see Buddy make a final, successful push to get Henry safely back into the crib. Standing by protectively, Buddy watched as Edward scooped up Henry, who clung to the puppy's fur. Edward was moved to tears by the evident strong bond between the two. When Evelyn came home, she found Edward and Henry both asleep in the nursery with Buddy curled up beside them. She quietly joined them, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for their tight-knit family. Despite their trials, they had each other, and that was their greatest strength. As weeks passed, Henry's condition began to improve. The paralysis slowly lifted, restoring movement to his legs. The Millers felt a surge of joy, hopeful for what lay ahead. Life found a new rhythm. Balancing work, parenting, and caring for Buddy became smoother. Henry's growth continued, his laughter and vibrant smiles lighting up their days, while Buddy, ever loyal, stayed constantly by his side. On a bright afternoon, the family set up a picnic in their backyard, bathed in sunshine. Henry, now energetically toddling around, chased after Buddy across the grass, his laughter echoing joyously. Watching their son, Evelyn and Edward's faces lit up with smiles, feeling profoundly thankful. It was in these simple, happy moments they recognized the series of events that had led Henry to them was truly a hidden blessing. Their family, forged through adversity, was now a testament to love and resilience. But life had yet another twist in store. A few days later, as they were enjoying a quiet morning, the doorbell unexpectedly rang. Eager as ever, Buddy bolted towards the door, with Henry giggling and hobbling close behind. Edward, apprehensive yet curious, opened the door only to freeze at the sight of Henry's birth mother standing before him. He called Evelyn over urgently. When Evelyn saw the visitor, tears welled up, her heart sinking with the fear that she had come to reclaim Henry. Without hesitation, Evelyn moved aside to let the woman and her companion enter. Contrary to their fears, the woman remained outside. She handed Edward a set of documents and then turned to leave. Attached was a letter, much like the first time they had encountered such a scenario. The letter was from Sarah, who expressed that she had received the help she needed to stabilize her mental health. She apologized once more for her past actions and conveyed her wishes for their happiness and love. She made it clear that she would not challenge their custody of Henry, having accepted her decision as final. Sarah mentioned she was now about to marry and sought to close this chapter of her life for good. While Evelyn felt Sarah's actions and words were somewhat self-centered, she refrained from harsh judgment, considering the immense challenges Sarah must have faced. Evelyn longed to tell Sarah that Henry was no longer paralyzed, but the moment had passed. As she watched Sarah walk away, a bittersweet smile crossed Evelyn's face, touched by the closure yet excited for the future. She turned to Edward, her heart bursting with another piece of miraculous news. She was 8 weeks pregnant. Their family was about to grow again, adding yet another layer of joy to their already blessed lives. As they faced the future, the Millers stood united, confident that they could overcome any challenges together. Their experiences had deeply ingrained the values of resilience, love, and the indomitable spirit of family. They treasured every moment with Henry, celebrating his well-being and joyful spirit. Buddy, ever playful and loyal, remained a pillar in their lives, his bond with Henry strengthening into a friendship meant to last a lifetime. Filled with hope and deep gratitude, the Millers continued forward, ready to meet whatever adventures life might bring their way. Did this story touch your heart? Do you believe that children and dogs can coexist harmoniously? Can a dog truly be a lifesaver? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed our story, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. We're delighted to bring you such heartwarming tales. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.